welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and today's car is this, the Audi RS e-tron GT. Quite a mouthful. E-tron just means an electric Audi. It's really a GT, and then it's the RS version of the GT. So I hope that makes a bit of sense, but we've just got this new, names coming for Audi as the electric revolution takes over. For those regular viewers, you're just wondering, where are all the cars gone in Harry's Garage? They've all disappeared off because all of next week I'm down at London Concours. I've got 8 cars on display and 6 bikes, and that's basically because I've also got 3 cars under restoration at the moment. But the one today is this Audi, and what a handsome car this GT is. I've had it for a few days. Everyone is commenting on the design. It's just slick. Really muscular. That's why we're filming it from this angle. Just look at that rear haunches on it, and it's also a pretty big car. It's 5 meters long, and I can't get over that's the same size as our full-size Range Rover, the new Range Rover. It's also about the same width within a few mil, obviously a bit lower, and it weighs the same because it's got a great big 93 kilowatt hour battery in it as well. What it's got that our Range Rover hasn't got is 600 horsepower or 5. Well, this is very odd, this horsepower rating on electric cars, because it has a boost output of 645.8 metric horsepower, but only for 2.5 seconds. If you want continuous power, well, then it's rated at 498 metric horsepower. All very confusing. And in this spec of this car, this is known as the Carbon Vorsprung version, a limited run right at the beginning of production, and it costs you £132,625. If you want a regular GT RS, well, then you're paying £111,900 with metallic paint, which you can't really do without. Anyway, let's go and have a closer look. The first thing about this car, it has a sort of new look for Audi at the front because they've had to shrink the grille. They don't need a grille in like they do on a regular combustion car. So this is all smoothed off, and I think there's something about it that does look way more elegant. Like the black as well on the rings. It does have 2 air intakes. I can see a couple of radiators hiding it behind these grills, and then these very obvious sort of radar eyes at the bottom. Come round the side, very much vented on here, carbon fibre use. I think that's just because this is this limited run car. And this clever 21-inch wheel, and these sort of veins on it, it's all about reducing drag is what's going on here. There's just it's actually got some carbide, as they term it, special discs under there, which seems a bit overkill because 0.3 G of your braking is purely on regen, and then beyond that the discs start operating. Here's just a port. There's actually one the other side, that's a regular port. The other side is the high capacity charge point, but it's quite nice if you've got home charging. You can charge either side of the car. There's a vent if we come along here, so just venting air out of the wheel arch there. And then carbon mirrors and carbon roof as well on this car. The thing is, the centre of gravity is so low on electric cars because the battery is right down low, and also this car has 4-wheel drive via 2 motors. So there's a smaller single-speed motor in the front, powering the front axle, and at the rear it's got the 2-speed electric motor that we've seen on the Porsche Taycan. You can't help but mention that car when you mention this. They're sisters in effect under the skin. Everything's basically the same, and then it's been tuned to be an Audi by Audi engineers. Come around to the back. Do like the black lettering, I have to say. It's a new look for Audi, and I think it's really good. Strange RS. To me, here in the UK and Europe, RS to me means those really powerful wagons, the RS6 and the RS4. It's a shame this is a regular booted car. It's got fold-down seats inside that black hole. Giant cable on it. I suppose that's because it's got such high capacity of charging. A little well there. But you also, being an electric car, you get another boot up the front. To say, trying to work out how to open the front boot did fool me for a bit. If you ever wonder, the button's in the door there. And here at the front, quite a big well down there. This, yes, I was actually charging this via a 13 amp plug yesterday, which will all make sense in a moment, just to see how well that worked. But it's quite nice having the 2 boots. A little interesting, I'm just talking about Porsche. If you look on here, you can see it's Porsche fit. So it's exactly the same as the Taycan, but no bad thing, because if you're going to have a sister in the range electric car, that's not a bad one to copy. So this isn't going to be my normal format, this test. It's too important, I think, for testing electric cars just to do the dynamics of it. I want to know about range, how it charges on the outside network and that sort of thing. So I'm dividing this test into two. And yesterday I took it on a long journey, 300-mile journey, just so I could try out charging on the outside network. And then I'll be doing a dynamic bit after that, and then a conclusion.
Right. So today, let's see if I can turn the radio down. First test. It's on there. Good. There's a button for it. Hurrah. No going into the screen, which is good. I'm going to continue as a guest, and I don't mind about that. Yeah, what we're doing today is going down to, say, to Eastbourne and go and see how far Keith Parrington has got with the restoration of the XJ Coupe, if you've been following that on YouTube as well. It is 144 miles from home down to where his workshop, and the Audi RS e-tron GT has electrical range 293 to 269, right on the cusp of doing a return journey. Is it possible? This is charged overnight, and it has a 229 mile range according to what I can see on screen. Drive select, I'm going to go, rather than comfort, I'm going for efficiency. All I'm interested in, I don't care about it. What's it do? 3.3 with electric boost and 0 to 100 kilometers an hour launch. Not interested at all. On today, all I'm interested on the e-tron is eking out the ultimate range. That's interesting. I'll put it into eco and it's instantly gone up to 241 miles. Now, when you start it up, I just love that noise. I don't know if you can hear it. It's sort of a bassy sort of noise, and it does sound quite engaging. In fact, I mean, I've had the Taycan in. We've had the Taycan S in. The good news is this doesn't feel like a Taycan. I cannot get over how different it is to the Porsche. Anyway, I'm not going to blabber on for 144 miles. You'll join me some way during the journey, but I say today is all about testing the ultimate range and a gentle drive down to Eastbourne and see the Jaguar. Well, the weather's taken a turn for the worse. Raining. I'm on the M25. I am in queues. I am quite impressed with I've got the radar cruise on. What's impressing me is it will actually bring the car to a stop, and when the car in front of me moves, so do I. Quite a lot of systems, you have to tap the accelerator to show you are aware that you're about to move off, but not so on this one. It seems to move off quite nicely. 3 miles per kilowatt hour. 65.8 miles covered, 173. There we go. It's going to bring me to a stop. Is it? Yeah. There we go. Ooh, magic stuff. And this eco thing, I notice it sort of limits your top speed to 80 something miles an hour, which is fine, and it doesn't allow you to have full acceleration, but it allows you to have plenty of acceleration. It's not just the full-on warp speed craziness. The journey continues. I will be having to I will be having to charge it somewhere to get home, but fortunately not too much. It's just the Friday half-term holiday week traffic is not great, even at, well, what are we, just after 12:15. Joys of motoring in the UK. Right, we are nearly here, just on the industrial estate where Painting Classic Cars is based. I think it's just up here. And the numbers, 145.8 miles we've travelled to get down here, and I have 98 miles range left, which I'm impressed with, because that means 244 mile range this battery is given from that charge if I can use those final 98 miles. That's pretty good going. It does also mean with 98 mile range I can't get home because I've got 144 miles to do, so I'm going to have to charge up at some point. I'm just going to see if I can just plug in the little 13 amp charger here, so it won't stop me having to charge up somewhere else on the way getting home. But I'm just intrigued how many miles it sort of adds. I'm going to be here for 2 or 3 hours. I'm just intrigued how many miles I can add in that time. So there you go, this fascinating video. This is the end of it now. I'm going to swap over and start talking Jaguar XJCs and things like that. Keith has just appeared, and yeah, we'll see how we get on the way home when we have to charge outside the network, which is always the fear of everyone who buys an electric car. So, right, well, that was good. I hope you see the resulting video, just seeing the Jaguar all being done. I charged this up while I was here. I'm just looking, I've now got 114 miles in the tank, which is a little short of the 145 I actually need. So I am going to, I know there's an InstaVolt here in Eastbourne, and I'm going to see where it is. Like, there they are. Well, I know it's not here, so I'm going to get out of here. I knew it wouldn't charge up that much on the 13 amps, but it's just a useful indication, isn't it? So it was 112. So 14 miles we added in 3 hours. It's just over 4.5 miles, isn't it? An hour. I hope to be charging considerably faster than that. This seems to be at a gym, which is not what our health club, I think it's at, where these chargers are. But there's only 2, and one was occupied according to the app. There it is, health club. Please, InstaVolt, there it is. There it is. There's a DPD guy. This is the smile, happy face of an electric car driver who finds an empty InstaVolt. Hello, flipping yeah. There you go. Good. Right, we'll go and put some in. I have a 107 mile range. Right, well, I have been here 40 minutes now. Fortunately, there's a health club just next door. I've been in there, had a coffee, had a snack, etc. And I've come back after 40 minutes, and I have a range now of 189 miles, just about to go over to 190. I have added 85 miles in those 40 minutes. So not a particularly fast charge, but a very welcome charge. I think these InstaVolts are a sort of slightly older generation. They don't seem to have the screen and tell me how fast it charges, which is a peculiar thing, because I'd quite like to know charge, and they say, oh, I can be half an hour or an hour, and then I'll have enough miles to get home. But I've just looked on Waze. It's 143 miles home, and I now have 190 miles. So I've got a fair buffer. I've got a 50-mile buffer for eventualities on the way home. So I think that's it. I'm going to swap to iPhone video, so it'll all go shaky and stuff. But anyway, there you go. That's what I'm looking at now. 191 miles now. Card to end. The kilowatt card swipe. Session finished. Duration 45 minutes. 32 kilowatts delivered. Total cost £12.97. Yeah, all very painless, I have to say. That's what I like about InstaVolt. It's a shame it wasn't a faster charger, but it's all right. It must have been near 50 kilowatt hour charger, but just efficient, easy. You know, an idiot like me can make it work. Contactless, contactless stop, drive away. That's just what I want from a charger. Yesterday was a really useful day, doing that long trip and just really testing the infrastructure and how well it did on the range. I got home and I had 52 miles range left. What's impressive about that is when I unplugged it from that InstaVolt charger, I had a roughly 50-mile excess on the battery. I'd overcharged for what I actually required, which I always do because you never know, you're going to get diverted, road closed or whatever. But I was very impressed to have exactly 52 miles left of range when I arrived home. That means that that is a range indicator that you can trust. That is very unlike that Jaguar I-Pace I had, and some well, Tesla as well is more accurate, but their miles evaporate as soon as you go on the motorway. While I found I had the cruise control set at 70, maybe a little like 73 or something to get an honest 70, but I wasn't having to sort of tailgate lorries and stuff to get the range. That was driving perfectly normally, and it was 240 usable range, including motorway. So that was good. Today, different sort of day. I thought, first of all, I'll just give you a tour of the cabin. Some of the things I learnt yesterday, well, you can control the radio with just this little thing like there. There is none of the nonsense of the sort of Mark 8 VW Golf ID3S VW going through screens to set temperature and stuff in. It has buttons, which I'm amazed at, really, because, you know, you just think their GT, this is their state of the art, this is their statement Audi, and they have buttons for climates and heated seats and drive select, traction control. It's all there, and the screen is used purely for other functions, and obviously navigation and reversing, as I've got this camera staring at me. Nice wheel, just feels Audi. Funny enough, my wife got in and thought, well, is it Lamborghini? Because there is a sort of modern edge to it. There's this sort of hexagonal sort of look that you also get at Lamborghini. So I can see why I thought it has a Lamborghini S, and we know one's coming as well in the future. But yeah, full marks for the interior. It's not as sort of wild out there copycat Tesla. It's conventional with a modern twist, and very usable and very comfortable. Paddles behind the wheel, you might notice, there to control the regen, but basically it just coasts, as you're going to see. Anyway, I'm going to get going. This funny little thing down there, and then that basic, you know, something from Star Wars sort of sound comes through. And off you go. Now, the default setting, as you set off, is the comfort on the sort of drive select button, and yeah, it's impressive. It's mighty impressive. It has the adaptive dampers on this, and the ride comfort, from when you look at the spec and the speed and etc., it rides way better than you would expect it to. I've got a dynamic setting as well, but yeah, it's got 21-inch wheels, a 305 section at the back, I think 265 at the front, but comfort is noticeable in this car, and it's also super quiet, just on 70 decibels at 60 on my noisy bit of road. The really ugly bit of road on the M25, concrete etc., only put it up to about 77, so that aspect we sort of expect it with electric. And then also, because there's no gear change or there's no crescendo revs etc., it's just this simple sort of speed. But as ever with all electric cars, it does have immense acceleration, and there's no changing down etc. So here we are, delimit sign, oh my lord, here we go. Oh, and it's there we go. I can't do it for very long for obvious reasons, but it is such a thump in the back. I had that Taycan S, pales into insignificance to the way this RS GT moves off when you hit the throttle. And you don't need this carbon full strong, whatever it was called, I can't remember what it's called now, this particular model. That's what an RS GT feels like, just a and it makes that sound, doesn't it? I mean, I do like that bellow that's come through. I know it's synthetic, I know it's not real, but it's much better than a whiny sound of a Formula E. So yeah, that is pleasing. And you can't ignore, you can't just say, no, I'm not taking any notice of electric. I'm afraid it is coming, whether you like it or not. Nothing to do with Boris and his, you know, silly petrol ban after 2030. Euro 7, the next generation of engine regs in Europe, and we are agreed to take part with European regs as well in the UK. They are uber tough to get an engine through and very expensive. So manufacturers just aren't going to spend the money trying to develop a Euro 7 a compatible internal combustion engine that's going to get banned in 2030 anyway. So I'm afraid electric, whether you like it or not, you have to take it seriously, because the manufacturers are having to do it as well. And they do not like the way they're sort of chucking all this internal combustion engine technology in the bin, being forced down this electric route. But anyway, that's a matter for another day. But yeah, one thing you're not sacrificing when you go electric is performance. It just almost has too much. Sign we can't see, and off we go. Bit of wheel spin even. Yeah. You do have to keep an eye on the speedo, because you haven't got any reference points with what speed you're doing. There's not a rare gear change, something, oh, I'll take it, bring its neck in up to second. No, you heads up display on this car, and it's most welcome at times like that. Now look, I'm in dynamic mode, and this is my bumpy bit of road. Very acceptable. Part of it is because this car weighs 2.5 tons, and that always helps at ride comfort, because you're squashing the bump. You've got that sort of mass that the suspension is controlling. It's long wheelbase, wide track. It's very happy down a piece of road like this. There's all sorts to discuss in this car, so I'm going to start the sort of summary bit earlier. On the positives, well, design. I think it's a really good design. I like the way they haven't tried to follow Tesla and the big screen sort of thing. They need to get people into these cars. This doesn't alienate the current customer base. And you know, I think that a lot of companies were scared off by BMW's experience with the i3 and the i8, and they didn't quite get the sales they expected. I'm very happy in this environment. I think it's a smart move by Audi to do this sort of a touchscreen system, but with buttons. It's better than Taycan. I like the interior quality. I keep trying to think why I prefer this to that Porsche Taycan I had in, but I do. And I think the cabin and the ease of use is a lot to do with it. And there's just a feel-good factor. And the Taycan didn't make that sound, which is another big plus. Ride handling, just going through here. They are electric cars I've discussed before. They have a distinct character. There's no crescendo of the gears going through the gears. They have a very low roll mass, so they feel flat through corners. They power through. Yes, you do feel, you are controlling the same weight as a Range Rover, but they've got technology to disguise it with the four-wheel steer, and yeah, it's sort of, you don't take it out to enjoy the interaction. The steering is very definitely electric, and it's quite accurate, but there isn't that feedback that you expect. I've noticed you can set it so it's not the lane departure has been set to individual, and someone's just basically ticked all off on all functions on lane assist. So it's nice that it hasn't got that, but it is a little Audi-esque, and yet there is something engaging just from that level performance and the easy accessibility of it. The other thing about it is an RS Audi. I expect more practicality to come with the RS brand. The RS4 and RS6 appeal because they're family wagons. This has interior space, but the boots either end. I mean, it's just not what I quite expect from an RS Audi. There is a sport brake version, but then you don't get the high horsepower. You get the same battery, same range, but with lower power. Range. The positives is I can absolutely trust the indicated range on this car, enjoying my usage with it. That makes a huge difference. If you really have. I have 200 miles ahead of me, and I know it's 200 miles. It's not suddenly going to evaporate if I go near a motorway. So I really like that. It means you can plan your charging, how much you need to put in. But on the other side, it should be better. I paid £130,000 for this car. I want a better range than that. Tesla can offer me a better range, and I expect Audi should too. out of here. Whoa. Yeah, just going back to that range, you want to be more than you can drive in a day. And they're very well that they quote, or you can fast charge it in 23 minutes because of the 800 volt system. But you need a 270 kilowatt charger. And in the UK, well, I don't know where there is one. I'm going to see building a network of 40, they say, over the next 12 months. I don't know where they are, but 40 compared to roughly 8,500 conventional petrol stations, fuel stations. If you like, with a conventional car, that is a fast charger. I can charge my conventional car in 10 minutes, paying the whole caboodle. To search out 40 versus 8,500, it's much easier to fast charge your conventionally powered car than it is an electric car. Okay, there are others out there, 150 kilowatts, that means you'll be about 40 minutes to an hour to fully charge your car. I used that 50 kilowatt charger, and that was charging at roughly 100 miles an hour, so 2.5 hours to charge your car. But when you get to home charging, a whole different kettle of fish. 14 hours to charge this car. That is a long time. Say if you don't, come back of an evening's late, been out, 11 o'clock, and you want to go at 7 o'clock, you're not going to have a full charge. And from my experience of living with an electric car, what quite often happens is you forget to charge it right when you want to use the car. No, and you come out in the morning to do it, flip. I carry those bags in and I didn't plug it in, and it's so easy to do. And then you've got to sit and wait several hours to get enough charge to do whatever you're going to do. It's just living with an electric car. You do get used to it. It is nice when normal journeys to always have that full tank of fuel, if you like, as soon as you leave. I just want the tank to be a bit bigger, or an easier charge network out and about that I can just quickly charge it up. I suppose another positive is, obviously its sister car, the Porsche Taycan. This is a bit cheaper, and it certainly does not feel cheaper in any way, and I think I prefer the looks to it, so that's a bit of a positive. And the other weirdness is Porsche Taycan is in a more volume production. This is going to be built at the specialist facility where they build Audi R8s, so it's not going to be as populous as the Porsche Taycan as a regular production car, so this is going to be more exclusive, and yet it costs less. But it still costs quite a lot of money. So yeah, swings and roundabouts on that one. So my conclusion really with this car is it's a flipping great EV, and but I can't give it 100% recommendation, because the weirdness still when you're reviewing an electric car is how you use the car has a critical play on whether it's the car for you. You choose a car, and then can I actually live with it? And that's the question you've got to ask yourself with this car and other EVs like it. I have friends who've absolutely slotted into the electric world. For me, I have random long journeys and lots of short journeys. It's the random long journeys. I just don't want the hassle of making sure there's a fast charge somewhere en route, etc. Friends haven't got the charge points at home. It's not universal yet, and so I like the practicality of plug-in hybrid for the moment. But as I say, Euro 7 engine regs mean electric is coming whether you like it or not, and I think if we're really going to get mass adoption of these, we do need the fast charge network sort of rolled out across the country, and I think we need more range from the car as well for this sort of family big GT. If I'm spending £130,000 on an electric car, I don't want any compromises whatsoever. I want to be bowled over on how I can use it all the time. So this one, really like the Audi RS e-tron GT. I really like my time with it. It's one of the best EV cars, better than its sister car. Still, I want some improvement in this car to come before I actually write out the check. But if it fits your needs and you can live with that sort of 120 mile radius of home for usage, then this is a cracking car. Beautifully designed. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, well, keep watching, keep subscribing, because there'll be more videos coming along very soon.